Hello, my dear friends. Hi, everybody. It is Courtney Kane Sides here with my dear friend, Sandy Sue Feng Shui. I am so excited and so pleased that you are with us tonight. It is Valentine's Day.
Yay!
How was
Happy
your
Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day, Miss Sandy Sue? I'm so happy you're here with me.
Thank you. Well, I'm wearing my hearts and my lips, hot lips.
I'm wearing my heart on my body and my lips on my body, maybe, but I love that you're representing. So thank you so much. Guys, we are running a few minutes late. Tonight, we were having a tiny little bit of difficulties, technical difficulties. However, let me see here real quick. However, we are here now. So I'm so excited. We're going to be going live here on this YouTube page. This is my personal YouTube page. And so please do me a favor if you're listening in tonight or watching us on the replay, please hit follow, please hit subscribe and join us so that you can be notified every time we go live or if there's a new video that is put up. And if you're, as we're moving through this evening, if you're finding that this information is connecting with you and you're like, you know what, I have a friend, Diane needs to hear it, or Lorraine or Shirley or whatever, please do me a favor and send that to them. So anyway, thank you, Sandy Sue, for joining us tonight. I so appreciate that you're here. Go ahead.
Oh, I just said thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Good, 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 good. Well, we wanted to jump on tonight. It is Valentine's Day, and of course, the subject of love and romance is all a buzz, is it not? It is something that I know that I get a lot around this time frame, around February. Lots of clients coming, wanting to ask their questions, wanting to have communication either with their loved ones on the other side or find out how they can bring love into their life. Or do you find that that's the same thing for you, Sandy Sue?
Yeah, everyone's wanting to make their love better during this time of year since it's Valentine's. That's for sure. And of course, with their resolutions for the new year, too, right?
Good to bring love in and all of that. And so that is something, a good reason why we wanted to even do this tonight was to help everybody understand tips, feng shui tips, energetic tips, how to connect to your own alignment of energy to bring love into your life. And as I say that to you, this podcast room, which will be continuing to evolve in the next few months, I'm so excited about the changes that are going to be taking place here. But this is my love corner. And so
Yay!
now we've changed the space. I haven't even told you. And so this used to be who will be my stepson's bedroom. And now this is his, this is my new podcast room. And so we're actually sitting in my love area, which I kind of love that for tonight.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So
perfect timing.
For anybody who I know, right? So for anybody who hasn't, who doesn't know, understand, can you or know or understand about feng shui, Sandy Sue, can you tell us a little bit about how feng shui works in specificness? I can't even speak tonight. Specific energy that pertains to love, or why it's important to bring feng shui into your life whenever we're wanting to maybe heighten romance, bring in a new partner. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so since feng shui is all about energy, right? Our thoughts, our beliefs, our environment, that is all energy. So we usually decorate and we buy homes or rent homes based on what we're energetically resonating with, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, for instance, a lot of my clients that have a lot of fear around being in a relationship with love because they were hurt in the past or could have been a past life experience that they're not even conscious of now, they'll actually find homes or decorate to actually prevent getting what they want. And I've seen it so many times where a client will come to me and they'll say, well, I want to be in a loving relationship, but when I see how they decorate or what home they chose, it's saying everything but that. So it's very interesting. What shows up on the outside is what's really going on in the inside. energetically. And most of it's unconscious and they don't even realize it. So that's why they hire a professional, because I'm looking through with feng shui eyes. You're connected to your angels and guides. I'm looking at things with the feng shui eyes. And then my guides come in and they tell me other things that are going on or what questions to ask the client at the time, because there's a lot going on when it comes to relationships, because the first relationship we have is with our mother, right? Being in the womb. So based on the feelings he was going through during that 9 months, we bring that into the here and now in our relationships with ourselves and with others.
Well, it's interesting to me how true it is with everything you just said, with understanding that those things left unseen, unfelt, unhealed, whatever, do show up in the physical in our homes. And we can go into detail later about my own experience with you. I've shared on other podcasts that I've had in relationship to love, which really opened my eyes to the world of feng shui and how that unconscious, that subconscious mind really does play out in our energy and experience. It is so crazy about how it does show up there in the physical. And so I always really want to brag on you and your energy while you say, you're connecting to the different guas and the areas of the home. And while Sandy Sue, you do have gifts and abilities, of course, but you would feel as though Sandy Sue knew, because you do know by seeing how they're blocking their energy in all of the different areas. Tonight we're talking specifically love, how when you walk into the room, when you walk into that area, you can see what is happening in that unconscious mind of theirs and what they're afraid of allowing in, right?
Exactly. And for an example, one of my clients, this was a long time ago, is that she had hired me because she wanted to get closer to her husband. And she had just had a baby, but she wasn't feeling connected. And sure enough, every love area that we went into, because besides the far right of your home, it's also in the property, it's also in every room, there was actually 3, the number 3. And to come to find out, as she started feeling more comfortable with me, she was brave enough to tell me that actually her husband was having an affair. They were professional dancers actually, and he was having an affair with one of his students, an adult, an adult student. And sure enough, there was 3s in every single area, even the backyard. The little tiny palm trees that come up for, I don't know, about 4 feet high. They're decorative. Well, there was 3 coming out of one right in the love area. And then in their bedroom, in the far right corner where the love energy was living in that space, there was a picture of 3 people, and it was like indigenous people, like in Africa or something. One was holding a baby, and it was like so like it was just mind blowing to me, because it was her, him, the person they're having an affair with, and then the baby they just had. I mean, it was even showing up in their artwork like that. So yeah.
Well, so you just said something that I'm like, hello, why don't we start? And I want to talk about everything you just shared, but can you tell us where the love area in our home is?
Yes. So when you're standing at your front door and you're walking in, is to the far right corner. So as far right as you can possibly go, that room is the love area. And then as you go into every room, as you walk into that space, it's the far right corner of that space. And then for our property, it's standing at the street. Most people's front door faces the street, not everybody's, but most people. And so so if you stand at the street looking at the property, it's the far right corner of the property.
And so if you're, I want to ask this quick question, and we are going to take questions from the comments, guys. And so I appreciate all of those questions coming in. We're going to take questions for Sandi Sue, questions for me, all of that. And so we will get to you, we promise. And again, if you're feeling like maybe a friend or somebody you know could really use this podcast tonight, please do me a favor and share that with them. That would mean the world. And again, don't forget to follow and subscribe to myself and Sandi Sue, of course, too. And all of her social media handles are down below in the thread of information. So if I'm at my front door, okay, so far right corner is love, but say my office where I do my personal sessions, when I'm looking at that, I'm looking in from that front door. And so in from that front door would be that far right corner, right?
So of the whole house, but for your office, it's when you're walking into your office to the far right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is right. Okay, good. So that is wonderful. So that key piece of information, guys, right there, you will always know when you walk through the door of your front door or your office, whatever specific room you're working on, that far right corner is your love corner. And exactly what Sandi Sue was saying before, extract the 3 things from those corners if you've got them in there right now, unless you want a polarity of relationship or a plural relationship, whatever. If we want a paired partnership, that was something, Sandi Sue, that I had done. Do you remember in my first home that you ever came to Feng Shui? I used to like things to be off a little, like have it like, oh, I like it to be skewed a little bit, not anymore. And so in all of those corners, I too had 3 candlesticks or 3 this or whatever. And I do not do that. Now it is something of 2 or a pair of something in the image or whatever. So that's very key, guys, very key information that can help just energetically even help raise the vibration in those rooms. So you extracting those things out of those areas already that helps, right? Doesn't it help shift the energy?
Oh, immediately it shifts the energy.
So can you suggest a color? I mean, are there certain colors that live in that area or certain, there's, I mean, I would almost assume red, but I'm not sure that that's correct. I can't remember what the color is.
Yeah. So pink. So our names are highlighted in pink. So it's actually that color, which I was seeing that, which is awesome for tonight. So pink is the color that lives in that corner, but not everybody likes pink. A lot of people think pink is Pepto-Bismol. This is what I've heard before doing consultations. So if you don't like the pink, yeah, I love pink. If you don't love it or like it, then you can hide it in that space. You can, if it's a bedroom, for instance, you can find the different drawers with like pink tissue paper, and that will help with the vibration. And then you had mentioned red. So red is the fire element that helps to put passion into the love area. And so adding some red. But if it's your bedroom, you don't want a lot of red because that's too much yang energy. And yang energy will keep you up at night. So you don't want that. But you can have splashes of red. But if it's not your bedroom, do a lot of pink and reds for sure. And you can also have a little bit of white in there. White is good. Those are the 3 colors that I recommend for that space.
Yeah, it's always so interesting. I know in my life when you came and you helped with my first home and then a condo that I had, you came in and that was so much fun because you even helped me shop for that. You went and helped me spend all my new money that I was going to throw into that condo, which was a blast. And even then I was still like, I wanted to do things my way. Some of us have that issue when we're talking about feng shui or control. And what I loved were there were always ways that you helped me get through that. And like you said, if pink is the color that lives in that relationship area, you said you could hide it. So that means putting like pink poster board under the table or putting, behind this painting that I have behind me, even in this room, I could put red poster board if I'm wanting to bring more passion, if we're wanting heat in your relationship and it feels stagnant in that area, putting that red there underneath the chairs or anything like that, just taping it down there, securing it. And, I think that that's a really, really awesome tool, especially if you're really picky about colors, like some of us.
Yeah,
And so that was a
exactly.
tool that really, yeah.
Yeah. And if you
What
decide to
about
keep
those? Go ahead.
the color that you have on the wall, are you going to keep that color on the wall behind you?
No, I don't think so. I
Okay,
don't
good.
think so.
Good, because that if you did, then you would need to have so much red in there to evaporate that water element. You would just be surrounded by so
Mm,
much too much red actually for you, just if you kept that wall color. Because the thing in feng shui is we're balancing out the 5 elements. So besides having the right colors in this space, we have to have the right amount of colors to offset the other
mm,
colors because, for instance, that's a lot of water. So what happens when you mix water with earth? Because earth element is what lives in the love area, you get mud. And mud is stagnant.
yeah.
It's not moving anywhere, right? And so we need to evaporate the water and create more earth elements so that people feel more stable. Because in relationships, you want to feel stable and secure. And that's the earth element. And if you have too much water, then there's just too much drama. There's too much emotions. There's too much going on that doesn't feel good. Because if you don't feel stable and, and secure, that's the water element that's in the relationship area. So for those of you that are having problems with relationship, really look to see, well, what colors do I really have going on here? Is there a lot of water element, blues and blacks? And do I have, a lot of mirrors in that space and glass in that space? Because that's the water element too. So really looking at to see what
Mm.
and elements are going on to balance out the feng shui to help with relationships.
So I love that tidbit of information. Can I ask you what color you suggest in a room like this? And now, Sandy Sue, when I ask you this, I know you're a lot more adventurous with wall color than I am. We've been doing this for a long time, and you know that about me. And so I'm curious what the colors are. I'm sure you've already told me that as we've walked through my home together before,
Mhm.
virtually, which
Yes.
you do that. I love that. And so, the color? What would you suggest a color in here to be?
Well, what color would
In
you
your
want?
in your
Because first I would like to know what you
Well,
would
I like
like.
it. Well, you're not really going to see this wall in time. So this is the new podcast studio, and so we're investing. I'm so excited about it. And by the way, I see a lot of our Forbidden Knowledge buddies. Audio Ron, I see you, my friend. I got your email, by the way, and I'm excited about it. So I'll get back with you. And Cassiopeia, I see you, my friend. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in. So colors, I like a good basic. I'm a white wall girl. I know most people cringe when I say that, but this is going to have soundproofing. It might have this huge painting. We might have shelves right there. So who knows as far as, what it's going to look like exactly. But, I'm not sure. But
White would
what
work.
colors?
Yeah, white would
Okay.
definitely work.
All right.
Especially since you like more of those
Mm-hmm.
colors. That would definitely work. And then just have some of your paintings in there that you've done that has the pinks and the reds in there to help to balance out the energy. Because the white, the metal
Okay.
element. So if you have an abundance of the white element, metal, it's kind of like a 2-year-old going, mommy, 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 mommy. It just takes a lot of energy from you. You want it to have balance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, so I love that. So if somebody is without love, if somebody is wanting to bring forth a partner into their existence, are there a few tips that you could give us that could help us? Because I know that, many of us, for years, I was ready for my person and my partner to come into my life, right? And was very patient, was constantly doing the emotional work and the healing work, and also continuing to keep that focus on me. So never feeling like there was a lack when that person wasn't there. That's massive and key, by the way, being really happy in the space and having faith that that person in time will show up and match us in energy and frequency when it's ready. But are there things in our home that can help us shift or start that ball rolling of manifestation for that person to come in?
Yeah. So if you're single and you're really wanting a relationship, the first thing I would do is walk through your entire home, including your garage and your property, and look to see paintings that have single women in it. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you have paintings that have single women in it, you're broadcasting to the universe, I really want to be single. So you're telling yourself and your friends one thing, but your unconscious mind is telling the universe, the energy, something different. And that's what's coming back to you. So
Mm.
make sure there's no single pictures of women in your home or men. Um, and then make sure that in the love areas, the far right corner, for those who've just joined us, of every room and the home and the property, make sure there's no singular thing. So we talked about threes. We don't want threes unless that's what you're into. But you don't want to have singular things either. Because if you have one, then you're just telling the universe again, I want to be single. So you want to pair things up in your love areas. So two of things. And you want to make sure that they're compatible. So for instance, a giraffe and a little mouse, they're not compatible, right? That's just too far of a
Right.
distance for a lot of things in a
Yeah.
relationship. So you want to make sure that the things that you pair up are compatible energies. So look at things like that. I think one of the best things to put in the love areas is candles. And in fact, I'm burning a candle
Mm.
right now in my love area of my desk, which is on the far right corner of where you're sitting, is where your love energy is.
Yes.
But what's great is the automatic candles that come on. So you can set them at, when the sun starts to go down for 4 hours or 8 hours, and just put two of them in different love areas of your home. And what that does is it helps to symbolize that love is automatic, just automatically, because then you don't have to think
Oh, wow.
automatically coming on. And I shared that with several of my clients, but one of my clients, they weren't connecting very well. And she did that, but she's been working with me for several years with the Feng Shui and the resonance repatterning. And when she did that, boy, things just got a lot better in her relationship.
That was like poof for me when you said it. First of all, because Ethan and I have a million of them all over this house. We love the automatic candles. You was just saying love is automatic. I just was like, yes. Now I don't know if anybody else just got as excited as I did, but that is really awesome. A great key of information that you gave me so long ago too was, if you're keeping doors shut in your rooms, if you're keeping lights off, there's places in this home. I don't really go upstairs a whole bunch, but Ethan does, but I don't. I mean, there's lots of places in your home that are sometimes darker than others, or that you don't really go into much. And you always said you want to make sure that that there's life in all of the spaces, right? And
Yes.
either there's a lamp on, or because when you do that, it lifts the chi. And so, is that correct? Is that right? I feel
Yes,
like
very
I'm learning so much through the years from you. And so, it's one of those things where that having the candles, it would be one of those things where I don't even have to think about it. I can already know that those are going off upstairs in the rooms where I don't want to have to go up there and mess with, but energetically, it already is going. The energy is automatic too, not just the love, but the energy is automatic, and that is so massive. So thank you for that key of information.
Yeah, and the other thing too is then it reminds you too, because we get busy with life, right? It reminds us too, oh, that's the love
Yes.
area. And then it keeps you in track of keeping it clutter free, right? Because if you have a lot of clutter in your love areas, then you're not allowing space for energy of
Mm,
love in. So you want to make sure that you keep it clutter free. And it's not just that space. You really have to take care of all your spaces in feng shui because everything affects everything, you
yes.
know. And so it's so important because even if like your knowledge, for instance, a lot of people, the knowledge area, they're like, oh, I graduated from college. I'm doing well in school. I mean, work now. I don't need to make that better. Well, yes, you do. Because knowledge is
Yeah.
key to relationships, right? It's key because if you don't really understand what relationships are about or
Mhm.
what the other person is needing or wanting or what you're needing or wanting, if you don't really have the knowledge of how to communicate properly, because we do that based on what we learned as we grow up, right? What was modeled to
Yes.
us.
Yes.
So if we don't have the knowledge area in our home working, well, then it shows up in the relationship area too. Health, especially health. If the health area of your home isn't healthy, well, then are you going to have healthy relationships? Well,
Mm,
maybe not. Maybe
no.
so, maybe not. So it's good to do these different things in the love area, but you really need to look at everything going on because something's affecting something somewhere. It's like baking a cake.
Yes.
If you leave one ingredient out, the cake is going to go flat or it's not going to bake the way you want it to.
Darn it. Darn it. And so many of us have tunnel vision in one directions. And something I say in my work, I always say if it's happening in one area, it's happening in all areas energetically of life. And so you're reiterating that same information. And I can tell when my energy is off balance, and because I can be a pile maker, which, is completely annoying, but it happens if I get really super busy and I'm
Me
running
too.
around. But when I see it, I can tell, oh gosh, I need to scale back. I need to take a breath. I need to clear the space because it's a reminder of what's happening up here. I'm not taking time for me. I'm saying yes, maybe to too many people, needing to take a breath and find the balance. But it's so important. We are focusing tonight on romance and that love corner, but Sandy Sue, you're so correct and on point with that. It really is about whole balance and whole, raising the vibration in all of those areas. We do have a question. Marianne Kleminski says, so would it be a good idea to put two candles in every love area in every room, even the bedroom? Yes, and thank you, Pamela. Yes, so yes, that's a correct yes, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Tonight, like like as soon as we jump off this podcast, um, and so I think that's a really cool thing. By the way, if you're doing some of these things and implementing some of these fun uh, exercises or techniques or what are remedies? Would you call them remedies?
Yep. Remedies, and
In
enhancements.
your store and enhancements, then take a picture and tag us and then tag Sandy Sue, tag myself. I would love to see what you've done in that area. If you've added a little bit of color, if you've put the two candles or a pair of somethings, an image with a pair of somethings, that would be really cool. But it's really interesting when you start to implement those enhancements, those changes in those areas, to start to see the changes energetically. And sometimes I believe that we start to feel it before we start to see that energy shifting. And so it's something that I think we have to sometimes also have faith in and know that that's working. And then we've got to put good energy into it. Ashley
And if
Roberts says, happy Galentine's. Oh, go ahead. What'd you say,
Oh, what I was
Sadie
gonna say
Sue?
was the feeling, what you said about feeling was key because when you do feng shui
Mm,
correctly, it feels really good. And then when it feels really good, then it comes back to you. And then you're putting that feeling vibration out into the world, and then that comes back to you. So I just wanted to say that about the feeling aspect
mm,
that you said. That's so important. Is to really walk into that space of your love area and ask yourself, how does that make me feel? How is this making me feel? And just closing your eyes and just noticing how the vibration feels just standing in that space. If it doesn't feel like a 9 or 10,
Mm.
you need to you need to shift it up really quick.
Well, and that's something you taught me too, that if you don't love everything in your home, why is it in your home? Now, and I understand not just extracting things just to extract them maybe from your life, but what can you do to love it more, or refurbish it, or donate it? That's a key word that Sandi Sue loves to use, is donate it or give it away, sell it,
Yes.
and replace something that's going to, when you walk in that room, it's going to ignite that emotion of, oh my gosh, I get to live here, that energy, this is my room. And so when you're adding that excitement, that intention, when you walk in that space, it's going to add to bringing whatever it is you're wanting to bring in to you closer, or you're going to manifest it more quickly and more in the divine perfect timing as well. um,
You know,
Ashley,
okay.
Ashley says, happy Gal-" oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Sandi Sue.
What I was going to say was,
We have a little bit of a delay.
with what you were saying was, about getting rid of things, or, donating it, things like that. But there's a lot of things that we have that our loved ones that have passed on has given us. So, like, for instance, I lost my parents over 20 years ago. And so I was in my early 30s, and a few things that they gave me, well, over 20 years ago, I loved them more than I've loved them recently, right? So when we get to that point, you don't necessarily, maybe don't want to let them go, but you don't want to see them anymore, okay? Because you're like, I want to redecorate this space, bring in different energy. So what I recommend is a hot box. Actually, one of my very first clients gave me this idea. So I want to share this with everybody. It's called a hot box, which I use as red. So it doesn't have to be red though. But you get a box and you put the mementos in there that you don't want to let go of anymore, right now, because they remind you of your loved ones, but you don't want it in your space, because maybe when I'm 80 years old and I'm just sitting around watching soap operas all day, not, I won't watch those, but just sitting around, maybe I do want to, put that stuff around me again. So if there's things that you don't love, but you don't want to let go of yet, especially because it was from a family member that passed on, then just put it in a box, a hot box,
Mm,
and you can begin later.
mm. I feel like that's a really, really great idea. I feel like I might have one already going. So yeah, that's a really great idea. I guess we should probably love the box too. It probably doesn't count if it's a plastic tub in the attic, maybe, but right. Yeah, probably
That's
not. I wanted to read a question. So Ashley Roberts, and we're not really talking about the animals this or on this episode that we're talking about right now, but she says, happy Valentine's Day, ladies. I saw the last podcast you girls did. I was born in the year of the pig, and you said it was a lucky year for the pig. Wondering if it is my lucky year to find love.
Yes, because especially when it's your lucky year, that's the year you have all this luck coming to you. So you definitely want to do your feng shui, do all the things you need to do, and get yourself out there so that you can attract what you really want, pig. Because pigs are all about wanting to have fun. So have fun, because when you have fun and you put off that good energy, then you're going to attract what you want. It's when you're putting off the bad vibes that you're going to repel people, right? And pigs aren't that way at all. Pigs just like to have fun. So just have fun, be you, and attract the person that you're wanting.
Yes, good. That's very good advice. Thank you, Sandi Sue, for that. Audio Ron says, Ashley, it's always a good year for love. So I love that. I love the support. That's so cool. There was somebody else who, when we were talking about the number 3 earlier, Cassiopeia, said my love path is 3. That information around those corners has nothing to do with life path. So it's not we love a number 3 life path number, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
do not have a negative connotation or attachment to a number. That's not what we're doing at all, right? So you just make sure when we're talking in terms of relationships in those love corners, let's try to pair the things. Have the two candles, the two candlesticks, things like that. So that's really important. Anne says rabbits too. Good love year question mark. And no. So let's say that let's do all those. Listen, if it's not a good year, seeing Sue's already shaking her head no, then let's listen to all of those things. Thank you for that question, Anne, that Sandi Sue is suggesting, and we can add or enhance the energy, right? And bring the energy up so it's maybe not that negative of a year, right? And love,
Exactly.
right?
So if you're a rabbit, they're having the challenge this year because they're rebirthing themselves. So being a
Mm,
rabbit, what I would do is I'd focus on loving yourself as much as
mm,
possible because you're rebirthing yourself. And when you love yourself, it's easier to love others and others to love you, right? So work on that and the feng shui. So this is a good year to do that when you're not having the best of luck, so that when you do have the good luck, then you're automatically, you've done the work, right? Because you got to do the work. And then
mm,
when it's your lucky time, that energy will come in for you. And it could even come even sooner because it's just not your animal. It's not your primary animal. So I'm a horse, but I was born the month of the pig, and I was born the time of the dragon. So the pig
mm,
has a lot of luck. The horse doesn't have a lot of luck this year. So I'm taking my pig energy that I have and I'm bringing the luck through that. And then the other things that I do to bring in the good
mm.
luck. Yeah. So it's not just, so there's many factors. There's just not just, one factor. That's just overall what they say in Chinese astrology is that those are the animals that are going to have a little bit of a struggle.
Okay. Well, that's good to know too. And I think that you can hear that and understand it and yet not attach to it, right? Do all of those remedies, do the things that you know that help you lift your chi, your own spirit, your own connection, and stay focused on where you're moving, what you're knowing, what you understand is on its way to you. So understanding that, not being so tied down to any of those hiccups in life, I think is always important too. Still being in the moment, but having that faith and understanding that it's all going to go your way. That I think is super important right now, especially if we're some of those that are having the harder times.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Is there something, Sandi Sue? Now, we've been talking about the feng shui area in the homes, and so is there another tip that maybe can help us amp up that area in that corner? This is a two-part question. In that corner, one more maybe tip that we could do that can add to that area, but also, is it is there a color or anything like that that we can wear even on our bodies? Is there something energetically in our, we're not, I mean, I'm like, is there a feng shui to the body maybe that we could do?
Yeah.
Is
So
that a
it's good
thing?
yeah, that is a thing. So red, actually wearing something red, you don't have to wear a whole blouse of red, but you could even wear red rubies or a red bracelet because red automatically attracts and it protects. So
Mm,
it's a 2-in-1. And so they've even proven, I don't forget what I was watching the other day, but the scientists has actually proven that red actually is more attractive for men. So that's what they were talking about was
mm.
red fingernail polish, because a lot of companies don't want you wearing red fingernail polish. There we go. I got my toes done. I'm not going to put my toes up for everybody. I got my toes done. And so that's protecting, but it's
This
also
isn't that kind of a channel. That's right.
so wearing any kind of red would be good. And then the red also put some red flowers around those candles we were talking about, because just 2 candles by themselves, especially if they're pillared candles, that's not very attractive. So putting some red flowers around there. But what flower do we not want to do, Cortney? I know you've heard me say this many times. What flower do we not want to have in that
Oh
area?
gosh. Oh gosh. Now the pressure, the pressure. I
You
don't
can
know.
handle
I'm
it.
like, what? Uh, is it, it's not the rose, is it?
It is.
Is it,
Yay!
what if we snip the thorns? What if we snip the
If you
thorns?
snip the thorns, that does help. That does help. But
Okay.
then, so it's not,
Okay.
if we snip the thorns, it's not as on the physical level, but it's the unconscious pain. Because rose,
Okay,
so
then no roses, no roses.
yeah, exactly. So for those that don't understand, is roses mean love with pain because of the thorns. And now if they're actually bred for no thorns, then those are okay roses. Okay. But
Okay.
if they have thorns, you don't want them. In fact, besides it affecting love, it actually affects your body too. So one of my clients, and she's a psychic as well, and she always had pain in her body. And I was doing some sessions for her energetically, and then I went over to her home. Oh my God, everywhere I looked, there was roses. She decorated roses everywhere. And when I had her remove that stuff, because once I explained it to her, then her higher self told her, yes, this is what's causing me pain. Then she got rid of that and she's doing so much better. So if you have any roses in your home, please let them go because they're not serving you. Now, if you want to have roses in your yard and you already have them, then when it's time to transplant them, I forget what the season is for that, but Google it. And you want to put them in the far back center of your backyard because that's where fire lives. And roses have the thorns, and that symbolizes fire. So that's the only place you would want to have them if you do, but you don't want to have them by the front door. So when this was many moons ago, um, one of my clients, she hired me because she wanted to be in a relationship. And so I went over to her home and she had a whole row of roses as I was walking up her driveway to the front door. So I go through the home, we're talking about the feng shui, and then we go outside and I show her all these thorns and I tell her what's going on. She goes, well, that explains everything. One bad relationship after another of them hurting me, hurting me, hurting me, hurting me. Guess what she did? She pulled those up the next day. Roses were gone. So get rid of the roses, but have the flower that's best in the love area is jasmine. That is a symbol for love. I do too.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's pink jasmine and there's white. So you could do either one, or you could do a mixture of them. And then same
Okay,
thing with
that's a really good tip. Writing down.
yeah. So even like with the candles, because a lot of those candles that we were talking about before, you can even program them for different colors. So you could have one red, one pink. So the taller one, if you're wanting a significant other that's taller, then have that one red and then you can be pink. So there's different ways that you can do that.
Enhance the energy around it. I love that. That is such great information. And what I just learned too is it's a rental property now, but my home before, which you feng shuied virtually, had roses. And I don't even think that I realized. Now, you suggested I ripped those suckers out. And I think I lived there with them for about a year. And then I ripped those out pretty quickly. And so, now that when you say that, I'm like, that's exactly what was going on during that time of my life. What's really cool is to have, I will say, and I'm not trying to sell anybody on having their home feng shui, but I will tell you that having you walk through my homes and all of our experiences, you have helped me see the things I've noticed, even the places I've wanted to resist doing the changes. And even in that, there's usually something to be healed when the person's wanting to resist that area too, which is maybe a little obnoxious when we start to see that, conscious mind kind of wanting to play itself out or work itself out in that way. And so I think when we're ready to really fully let go or heal that, I think we're really surprised on what making those changes in our home, actually how it does assist us.
Yes. And the thing that I found for my clients, whatever they're resisting the most, that's what they need the most in order to spiral up, to shift the energy to get what they really want. But that resistance is what's stopping them. It's blocking them from receiving what they really want. So
Mm.
whenever resistance comes up, I always recommend, why don't you start journaling about this? Why is this coming up? What's causing this? And just really, work on that resistance and figure out what it is so you can let it go.
It's like free therapy. Yeah, let it
Yeah,
go and work through it. It's like free therapy, free therapy. Well, that makes me excited, excuse me, to know about the jasmine, the pink, white mixture there. I'm definitely going to be putting all of those candles out tonight and changing all of those flowers. There was something else that you said, and I wanted to touch back on it. You mentioned even your desk. Guys, this is a really incredible tip. And so in Sandy, so you've helped feng shui many a desk for me too. And so this one clearly, if you saw it, it does need to be done. So we're not going to talk about this specific desk, but when you're sitting at your desk, right, this is essentially like the front door, right?
exactly. Yeah, because the
And
energy is
so
coming in this way.
my So my love corner would be over here, and I have it's a money tree, but one single money tree right there, and I need to put a pair of something, correct?
Correct. So the money tree should be in
Okay.
your far left
So,
corner because that's your money area. So put your money tree in the far left
okay.
and then put a picture of the two of you on the right.
Okay. Literally tonight, I'm going to be feng shuiing it all. Okay. So now all of these things, guys, by the way, I've been doing this work with Sandi Sue for so many years. And it's not this is Sandi Sue is the master. And so I can do this, but I remember so much of it. I do, but it is so great to have a feng shui master at your fingertips to be able to point those things out to you yet again. What is it that we're wanting to shift? What is it that we're wanting to continue to bring into our lives? And even once we've attracted that beautiful partner, once we've attracted that love, we want to stay in that beautiful high vibration of energy. We don't want to then just let it all go to, whatever. And so we want to continue to keep those spaces cleared and beautiful and cleaned out too. So that's really important. Do you have anything else to share with that, Sandi Sue? If not, I'm going to open up to
No, go ahead.
questions
Start
just in
answering
case
some
anybody else
questions.
has any questions for you, or even okay, good. So if any of you guys have questions right now about even your own areas or even your
Uh-oh. Courtney went somewhere. I'm not quite sure what happened, but it looks like
okay, I got a
there
phone
you
call. I got a phone call. I'm like, you gotta go, get off my phone. So I'm not sure where I stopped. But if you have a question for Sandi Sue tonight, or if you've got a question for me in relationship, in love, in bringing that into your life, if you've got any, please feel free to comment below for us so that we can kind of bring your question up and we will help you with that. And if not, we will then move it along and call it a night. What's really fun, guys, is this work is constantly evolving in our areas. And so just when we think we've gotten it done, it's time to either clear the space again or, make sure that we're continuing to keep aligning with our intention for those spaces, those intentions in the different areas of our home. And that feels really, like something that can be kind of an ongoing process, right?
Yes. And the energy changes every year too. So the love always lives in the far right corner, what we were talking about. That's based on Western feng shui. But for the flying star
Mm.
energy that changes every year, it actually lives in the center of the home this year. So this Friday, actually, we're doing a Zoom call for that
Mm.
particular area. So if anyone's interested, just go to my website, Happy Energy Coach. It's right there. You'll see it. And I'll give you some information about it. But just real quick, you can send in a few pictures of the center of your home. And I actually bring it up so that we talk about the picture and what you need to do in order to balance the energy to bring you up another level of love. And then we're going to do some repatterning, group repatterning, so we resonate with the positive statements of lifting our love frequency.
Mm.
That's something that's going to be really fun to do on this Friday. So look it up if you're interested. Let me know.
It's always so much fun with all of the knowledge you bring to the table. And so I always, this is something that, guys, that I do for myself, for my home, for my own energy. And that's why I have you on often, is because your work is something I truly do believe in and use. So I'm not just touting it to tout it. I use it myself and suggest, clients to do it too, because it really does help. And that's coming from a woman I was a skeptic. I was a resistant feng shuier, I would say, in the beginning. And still, listen, I still, sometimes it takes me time. Sometimes I don't always meet the timeline that I really need to be meeting with it, but I still get it done, And so I think that it's important that, you put your all into it if it's something that you're really, if you believe into it, or if you believe it and know that it's going to be really adding to your life and the different areas of your life. So it's something I think that can be very, very helpful. We're
Mhm.
not getting any questions. So I think, guys, it is so important that I hope, please subscribe, please share. I hope that you hit that like button tonight. Thank you so much for coming on with us live here tonight, Sandi Sue, and for all of you guys joining in with your amazing questions. I so appreciate it. We are going to be doing so many more fun lives like this, and having different conversations and painting and sessions. And so I hope that you will continue to keep joining me here, and of course over on our favorite, the Forbidden Knowledge Network. Please do me a favor, make sure you go follow Sandi Sue at your Facebook handles. What's your Facebook page, Sandi Sue?
Feng Shui with Sandi Sue, the happy energy coach.
There you go. And I believe there's a link down below too. And so, guys, thank you so much for being here. We love you, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Happy Valentine's Day. Love.